Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Learn and Talk podcast. Today's episode is about something that affects all of us, no matter where we live or what we do: daily stress. Many people feel stressed from the moment they wake up until the moment they go to sleep.
That's true, Emma. Stress has become part of modern life. Work pressure, family responsibilities, social media, and constant notifications all increase stress levels. But the good news is that stress can be managed.
In today's episode, we'll talk about how to reduce stress daily while also improving your English. You'll learn useful phrases, natural grammar, and practical habits you can use immediately.
Exactly. This episode is not about complicated theories. It's about simple actions, clear thinking, and calm language.
Before we begin, please like this video, leave a comment, and tell us, what causes you the most stress in your daily life?
Your comments help us grow and help other learners feel understood. Don't forget to subscribe to the Learn and Talk podcast for more modern English lessons connected to real life.
Daniel, let's start with a basic but important question. Many people say they are stressed, but they don't always understand what stress really is. Some people think stress only comes from big problems, while others feel stressed by small daily tasks. So my question is, what is daily stress, and how can people recognize it in their everyday lives? Please include useful expressions such as daily stress, stress triggers, and warning signs. From a grammar perspective, explain how learners can use the present simple tense to talk about stress habits and the present continuous tense to describe temporary stress. Finally, how can learners talk about stress honestly without sounding weak or negative?
That's an excellent question, Emma. Daily stress is the physical and mental pressure people feel from everyday responsibilities. It does not always come from big events. Often, it comes from small, repeated situations. Learners can describe daily stress using the present simple tense. For example, I feel stressed at work, or I get stressed in the morning. These sentences describe regular experiences. Stress triggers are the situations that cause stress. Learners can say, meetings are a stress trigger for me, or traffic causes stress. The present continuous tense is useful for temporary stress. For example, I am feeling stressed today, or I am dealing with stress this week. This shows that stress is not permanent. Warning signs of stress include tiredness, irritability, and lack of focus. Learners can say, I notice warning signs when I feel tired. The verb notice helps learners speak calmly. Talking about stress should be honest but balanced. Instead of saying, I am weak, learners can say, I am experiencing stress. This separates the person from the problem. Grammar supports emotional health. Using sentences like, I am learning to manage stress, shows growth and control. In conclusion, daily stress is normal. When learners understand stress and describe it clearly, they take the first step toward reducing it.
Daniel, many people want to reduce stress, but they feel they don't have enough time. They believe stress reduction requires long breaks, vacations, or special tools. This belief often stops them from trying. So my question is, how can people reduce stress daily using small and simple habits? Please include expressions such as reduce stress, simple habits, and daily routine. From a grammar point of view, explain how learners can use modal verbs like can and should to give advice, and how imperatives help give clear instructions. Also, how can learners talk about stress reduction without sounding unrealistic or idealistic?
Emma, reducing stress does not require big changes. Small, consistent habits are more effective than occasional big efforts. Learners can give advice using modal verbs. For example, you can take short breaks, or you should slow down your breathing. The modal verb can suggest possibility, while should gives gentle advice. Imperatives are useful for simple habits. Sentences like, take a deep breath, stand up and stretch, or turn off notifications are clear and practical. A daily routine helps reduce stress naturally. Learners can say, I reduce stress by walking every day. The structure by plus verb ing explains method. Simple habits include breathing exercises, short walks, writing thoughts, and limiting screen time. Learners can say, I follow simple habits to stay calm. This sounds realistic. Talking about stress reduction should feel achievable. Instead of saying, I must be calm all the time, learners can say, I am working on reducing stress. The present continuous shows effort, not perfection. Grammar influences mindset. Using phrases like, I try to relax, sounds healthier than, I must relax. In conclusion, daily stress reduction is about small actions repeated consistently. When learners use practical language and gentle grammar, stress management becomes realistic.
Daniel, my final question is about mindset. Many people reduce stress temporarily, but it always returns because their thinking habits stay the same. Negative thoughts, perfectionism, and self-criticism increase stress over time. So my question is, how can changing the way we think help reduce daily stress? Please include expressions such as stress mindset, negative thoughts, and mental habits. From a grammar perspective, explain how learners can use conditional sentences and future forms to talk about mindset changes. Finally, how can learners speak about mental health in English in a respectful and confident way?
Emma, mindset plays a huge role in daily stress. Stress is not only caused by events, it is also caused by how we interpret those events. Learners can use conditional sentences to explain this. For example, if I change my mindset, I feel calmer. This first conditional shows cause and effect. Negative thoughts increase stress. Learners can say, negative thoughts make me feel anxious. This sentence uses the present simple to describe a general truth. Mental habits are repeated thinking patterns. Learners can say, I am changing my mental habits. The present continuous tense shows ongoing effort. Future forms help express intention. For example, I will practice positive thinking, or I am going to focus on progress. Going to sounds planned and realistic. Talking about mental health should be respectful. Instead of dramatic language, learners can say, I am taking care of my mental health. This sounds mature and confident. Grammar supports self-respect. Using sentences like, I am learning to respond calmly, shows control. In conclusion, reducing stress daily requires both action and mindset. When learners adjust their thinking and use supportive language, stress becomes manageable.
Daniel, many people try to reduce stress by changing their habits, but they ignore the role of language. The way people talk to themselves every day often increases pressure and anxiety. Harsh words, negative labels, and unrealistic expectations can turn small problems into big sources of stress. So my question is, how does daily self-talk affect stress levels, and how can learners use English more positively when talking to themselves? Please include useful expressions such as self-talk, inner dialogue, and positive language. From a grammar perspective, explain how learners can use modal verbs like can and might to soften thoughts, and how replacing absolute words like always and never can reduce stress. Finally, how can learners practice kinder self-talk without sounding unnatural or fake?
Emma, daily self-talk has a powerful effect on stress. The way people speak to themselves often determines how intense stress feels. Negative inner dialogue increases pressure, while supportive language reduces it. Learners can talk about self-talk using the present simple tense. For example, I talk to myself when I feel stressed, or my inner dialogue affects my mood. These sentences describe common behavior. Harsh language often includes absolute words such as always and never. For example, I always fail, or I never do enough. These statements increase stress because they sound final. Learners can reduce stress by replacing them with softer language. For example, I sometimes struggle, or I am improving. Modal verbs help soften thoughts. Using can and might reduces pressure. Learners can say, I can try again, or this might be difficult, but it is possible. These sentences sound realistic and supportive. Positive language does not mean ignoring problems. Instead of saying, everything is terrible, learners can say, this situation is challenging. The word challenging is calm and professional. Talking kindly to yourself may feel strange at first. Learners can start with neutral language, such as, I am learning, or I am doing my best today. These sentences feel natural and honest. Grammar shapes mindset. Using the present continuous tense, like, I am working on managing stress, shows effort without judgment. In conclusion, reducing stress begins with changing inner language. When learners use supportive grammar and gentle words, daily stress becomes easier to manage.
Daniel, my next question focuses on the connection between stress and energy. Many people feel stressed because they are constantly tired. Lack of sleep, poor breaks, and mental overload slowly increase stress levels. However, people often ignore energy management and focus only on productivity. So my question is, how are energy levels connected to daily stress, and how can learners talk about managing energy in English? Please include expressions such as mental energy, burnout, and recharge. From a grammar perspective, explain how learners can use cause and effect structures and time expressions like during the day and at night. Finally, how can learners talk about low energy without sounding lazy or unmotivated?
Emma, energy and stress are deeply connected. When energy is low, stress feels higher. When energy is balanced, stress becomes easier to handle. Learners can explain this using cause and effect structures. For example, when I don't sleep well, I feel stressed, or because I am tired, small problems feel bigger. These sentences clearly show connection. Mental energy refers to the ability to focus and think calmly. Learners can say, "My mental energy drops during the day." This sounds professional and honest. Burnout happens when stress and exhaustion continue for a long time. Learners can say, "I want to avoid burnout by resting regularly." This sentence sounds responsible. Recharge means restoring energy. Learners can say, "I recharge by taking short breaks," or "I relax at night to recover." Time expressions like during the day and at night make routines clear. Talking about low energy should be respectful. Instead of saying, "I am lazy," learners can say, "My energy is low today." This describes a temporary state, not identity. Grammar supports confidence. Using the present continuous tense, such as, "I am managing my energy better," shows improvement over time. In conclusion, managing energy is essential for reducing daily stress. When learners use calm language and clear grammar to describe energy, they protect both their mental health and productivity.
Daniel, many people feel stressed because they try to control everything. They want perfect results, perfect routines, and perfect behavior from themselves and others. When things don't go as planned, stress immediately increases. This is especially common in modern life, where people compare themselves to others on social media. So my question is, how does the need for control increase daily stress, and how can people reduce stress by letting go of perfection? Please include expressions such as let go of control, perfectionism, and accept uncertainty. From a grammar perspective, explain how learners can use modal verbs like don't have to and doesn't need to reduce pressure, and how contrast words like instead of can help express healthier choices. Finally, how can learners talk about imperfection in English without feeling embarrassed?
Emma, the need for control is one of the biggest hidden causes of daily stress. When people believe everything must go perfectly, even small problems feel overwhelming. Learners can talk about perfectionism using the present simple tense. For example, perfectionism increases my stress, or I feel pressure when things are not perfect. These sentences describe general truths. Let go of control means accepting that not everything can be managed. Learners can say, "I let go of control by focusing on what I can change." The structure by plus verb ing explains method clearly. Modal verbs help reduce pressure. For example, "I don't have to be perfect," or "This doesn't need to be done today." These sentences sound calm and realistic. Instead of helps, show healthier choices. Learners can say, "Instead of trying to control everything, I focus on progress." This contrast reduces stress naturally. Accept uncertainty means being comfortable with the unknown. Learners can say, "I accept uncertainty because life is unpredictable." The word because explains reasoning. Talking about imperfection should feel normal. Instead of saying, "I am bad," learners can say, "I am human and I am learning." This removes shame. Grammar shapes emotional health. Using sentences like, "I am learning to let go," shows growth and patience. In conclusion, stress decreases when control decreases. When learners use gentle grammar and accepting language, daily stress becomes lighter and more manageable.
Daniel, my final question is about long-term stress management. Many people reduce stress for a short time, but after a few weeks, old habits return. They feel disappointed and think stress management doesn't work for them. So my question is, how can people build long-term habits to reduce stress daily without feeling tired or discouraged? Please include expressions such as long-term habits, consistency, and sustainable routines. From a grammar perspective, explain how learners can use future forms like will and going to express intention, and how conditional sentences help talk about habit building. Finally, how can learners talk about slow progress in a positive way?
Emma, long-term stress reduction is not about quick fixes. It is about building habits that are simple, realistic, and sustainable. Learners can talk about intentions using future forms. For example, I will practice calm breathing daily, or I am going to reduce screen time. Going to sounds planned and achievable. Long-term habits grow slowly. Learners can say, I am building long-term habits to reduce stress. The present continuous tense shows ongoing effort. Consistency means repeating small actions. Learners can say, consistency matters more than intensity. This sentence sounds confident and mature. Conditional sentences help explain habits. For example, if I rest regularly, I feel calmer, or if I manage stress daily, I sleep better. These sentences connect action and result. Sustainable routines are routines that fit real life. Learners can say, I choose sustainable routines instead of strict rules. Again, instead of shows a healthier approach. Talking about slow progress should be encouraging. Instead of saying, I am not improving, learners can say, I am making progress slowly. The word slowly sounds patient, not negative. Grammar supports motivation. Using sentences like, I am learning to reduce stress, keeps the focus on growth. In conclusion, daily stress reduction works when habits are gentle and consistent. When learners speak about progress with calm, supportive language, they stay committed and confident over time.
In this episode of the Learn and Talk podcast, we explored how to reduce stress daily in a realistic, modern, and sustainable way. Daily stress is not a personal failure. It is a natural response to the pace and pressure of modern life. The goal is not to eliminate stress completely, but to understand it, manage it, and respond to it with calm and awareness. Throughout the discussion, we learned that stress comes from habits, mindset, language, energy levels, perfectionism, and unrealistic expectations. Small daily actions, such as managing routines, protecting energy, practicing reflection, and adjusting self-talk, have a powerful long-term effect. We also discussed the importance of flexibility, balance, and accepting imperfection as part of a healthy life. From an English learning perspective, this topic showed how language directly influences emotional health. Using the present simple for habits, the present continuous for progress, modal verbs to reduce pressure, conditionals to explain cause and effect, and supportive vocabulary helps learners speak about stress confidently and respectfully. Calm and realistic language reduces anxiety and builds self-trust. Most importantly, reducing stress daily is a skill that can be learned and improved over time. Progress does not come from perfection, but from consistency and kindness toward yourself. When learners combine practical habits with supportive English expressions, they gain control over both their stress and their communication. Remember, a calmer mind leads to a clearer life and better English every day.